Good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. And it has been an pretty incredible little while, hasn't it, everybody? We've had so much energy coming in. There were auroras reported in areas where they don't typically get them. But I mean, we're saying that even though recently we've been getting northern lights as far south as Texas, in some areas. And so, but yeah, there is definitely some energy coming in. We're experiencing all kinds of weird, funky stuff. I know for me, the primary complaint is, as it were, that I've been experiencing has to do with the vibration sensation in the body, feeling your body vibrating, like just almost like a shiver inside, but you're not cold. Just the most bizarre thing. A lot of people reporting balance or feeling unstable, like on their feet, not quite like you're dizzy, just like almost like you don't know what direction gravity is supposed to be or something like that. One of those weird rooms that are like constantly cycling and making it so you don't know which way is the wall. That kind of feeling almost. Um, a lot of stuff to do with the mouth, the tongue, and the teeth. It's fascinating how many people are reporting this. I know for me, I'm definitely having the tongue stuff. Like it's just like, I don't know, my tongue feels weird, and doesn't taste all that great either. It's not a metallic flavor or anything like that, like we've had in the past. Um, but this is like my main complaint. Primary complaints have to do with throbbing and uncomfortable gums, even after having like had full checkups and talked to the dentist and stuff like that. People are talking about having this has been like a real constant these past few days. Some people are feeling so concerned about this one in particular that I wanted to highlight it, is the sensate or suddenly being able to see certain things, energy around people, which we call auras typically. Sometimes it's seeing more than their aura. There's layers of energy field around a person. It looks kind of like um it's like opal-esque, I guess. It has that translucent quality where there's a rainbow after a rainbow after a rainbow, kind of like in a bubble that you've blown with a little bubble wand that's just coming down to getting ready to pop. And you can see the colors. That's what a person looks like. I'm invisible because of my green sweater. I forgot. I just gets invisible. Anyway, um, this kind of thing is regular for me and for a lot of people. But when we first started to see it, it was also something we learned in this earlier phase of our awakening as a global collective. Those were things you didn't really mention or even compare. People didn't even know that other people didn't have that a lot of times, and then when you found out, you kind of, oh, that's something that maybe I shouldn't talk about in the earlier days. Well, now people are starting to get that again. There's a whole bunch of people who are talking about it. So I wanted to go into that because so many of these emails are people who are afraid, concerned, feeling there's something's wrong, perhaps someone or that's not great coming in or something like that. And it's you're seeing the other people. And there's more than that too. There's the orbs where they're like flashes of light. They kind of look, like background here, that little beam of light, these little things, but they're usually more muted or not as bright. That doesn't always mean that that's the case. In fact, when you actually see them all the way, from I don't think I do. um, Supposedly they're so bright that you can't really. They look a lot larger than that, and so and they'll just move around. Usually, it's outside of your direct eye line, meaning that's why we, um, uh, you know, divert our eyes, right? That's why we bow, because if you look just below the place where it's at, you can use your third eye and your crown to see, right? And so this is us seeing with our third eye, seeing beyond what we kind of think is like the norm to see. And so, anyway, the things that we're seeing is typically in the peripheral, and that has to do with that eye line. So, something interesting is happening. And if that's you, not to feel concerned. It's actually really cool, in my opinion. You can start to see certain things. You can start to see things that you weren't able to see before, is what I mean. And they're good. Hi, good to see you, Wade. They're good. They're typically, if we don't want to know, if we're not sure what they are, if they're good for us, if they're energy that's love, whatever, all you got to do is send love to them. Send love to them, and like you would send energy of love that is like just before you say, or as you're saying I love you to someone you really love deeply. When we do this, we send out an energy just before the words, actually. And it's not just with love. When we do this with a lot of different types of conversation, in fact, in a telepathic kind of way, when you're talking to somebody, they say the thing and you receive the thing that they're going to say just behind, just in front of when they actually speak. It's very interesting. So when someone gets cut off or stopped and they change their mind last minute, something halts their flow of their conversation, we'll still hear what they're going to say, or at least part of it. It's very interesting. Anyhow, sending love out like this to any of these things that you're starting to see, if it is of love, it will return love to you, amplified in a quantity, typically at least 3 times as much love as you sent to them, which is freaking awesome and it feels amazing. If they are not of love, they will flee, for the shadow cannot last in front of the light. And so just that's a way to know, if you don't feel comfortable, then it's going to feel ucky, so that's a way to resolve that. I've got this funky hair that just kind of wants to be right there. Oh, wait, thank you. Mila, you put the U in universe. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming today. What a crazy day, man. We got a lot of energy already in here, and it's also moving into something bigger. We can feel it. There's a lot of other things happening in like the world stage, right? There's so many redundancies of sports and this whole circulus thing happening right now. I know the Olympics and like, what is it, like NASCAR or something? It was football. There's a football thing today, the Super Bowl. I can't believe I couldn't remember that. Anyway, there's a lot of this type of flow and things going on. And what is this day, this football thing typically famous for is the commercials. And I know there's going to be a lot of interesting fear drops for that. And I'm telling you all this because we're probably going to feel it collectively. We're feeling it. We're feeling it. We're in it. And I'm not judging anything. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's something that we're doing. And then we're having all these crazy spikes. Oh, guys, check this out. I got to show you this real quick. This is what, normally this isn't something you'll see. This is the electromagnetic, what's it called? I want to say it exact. The electromagnetic background level on the Schumann. So this isn't usually what it looks like. A lot of you have seen this before, and you're used to seeing it look like M's. Like it typically is not near as high up here. And usually it looks like just these really easy M's with green M, a little bit of yellow at the bottom, and the background fully blue. So this is what it looks like right now. And it's been something similar to this for 7 days now. This is very uncommon. Very uncommon. And so it piques my eyebrow for sure, because I'm just like, well, what's going on here? And we're feeling that. There's massive coronal holes or sunspots, that are Earth direct and affecting us. Our electromagnetic field, or ionosphere rather, is thinning. There's some parts of the toroidal field that goes around the Earth that actually are looking like they're absent, where the energy is coming off of it completely. It's a thing. We're getting a lot of energy right now. We've had several massive, huge size solar flares with little to no, which most time it was no CME, with no coronal or coronal mass ejection, or the plasma that leaves the sun. You know how we get like a solar flare and then we're like, okay, we got like 24 hours to 78 hours. It's somewhere in there before we're going to feel it. Well, it's not been that impact part hasn't been happening. Like, for the most part, we've had a little bit, like last night's amazing display of northern lights that so many saw, was a response to just a piece, a little bit of a CME from this other solar flare we got. So Louise, exactly. Floaty, yeah, feeling real. I'm sure there was conversation before that I missed in the chat. It just really, yeah, between worlds almost, right, Louise? I've been feeling really between worlds too, like, and floaty, yeah, just off balance. Maybe that's what you're talking about, right? I mentioned the off balance, feeling like you're not sure where gravity is, right? Yeah. And so tired, Jim. Yes. So tired. I've been sleeping twice every day lately. Like what I mean by sleeping twice is like, you call that a nap, but it's like I feel like that I'm sleeping in doses. That nap is like the second sleep. I feel like a hobbit, a second breakfast, but like I have a second sleep. That's just what's been happening. And when I don't get a chance to, I am. It's a weird because I end up doing it anyway, even if it's late at night, because then I wake up early for a little while, or something. It's really weird. And so just real drained, feeling almost like someone kind of like unplugged your cord from the wall, and there's still a little bit of energy still going in there, but it's like that, like you're feeling it go down. Rhonda, hello, Rhonda. Hello, everyone. Crazy energies, crazy energies. Yes. Yes, off balance, dizzy, type tired. My vision gets weird, everything. Yeah. Yeah, the stuff about the eyes. I'm glad you mentioned the eyes. Thank you, Rhonda. I meant to make a note and I've forgotten to. This weird eye stuff that's happening right now. Like we're starting to see things, guys. Like I know a lot of other people who are reporting having never seen before seeing, and those who perhaps already had access to it. Thing is, we all have access to it. It's one of those things. All of the stuff people get held up in the spiritual community as like the gifted one or something like that. And if you're tuning in, you're one of those people. You're one of the gifted ones. We all are. It's just about learning to reconnect to your center, to your truth, where you resonate in. A lot of the things we've been taught to put into our bodies and to consume, not only food, drink, but also media, information, the different flow of information. And at this time and age, we're finding it very difficult to be able to decipher in a passive way between what is not true and what is. And this is a beautiful time for us to learn or retune our own, like our own discernment. We have this spiritual tool inside called discernment that many people will associate with. We are the universe's bullshit detectors, lie detectors. That was what I meant to say. um, but it's erroneous, all of it. It's there's so much of this layer. And so instead of it being something that can be overwhelming and scary, we can see it as what it really is meant to be for us. It's creating a layer like the oh goodness, the eye covering when you do like a blind man's bluff, or when you're doing a spin the person and pin the tail on a donkey, the blindfold. That's what this is, because when you put the blindfold on, then you're required to use your already gifted senses that we haven't really used before. So I'm not saying that I want more disillusionment and more like of this stuff, this diluted information out there, but it does seem to be causing the result of requiring the person to use their discernment, because it's mixed in most of these videos and things I'm seeing. It's got some truth in it, and it's tricking the person to listen. And then you can see it underneath it. You can learn to use your own gifts because you're already channeling, guys. You're already connected. That vibration, that weird extra vibration in your heart area is you feeling the universe's heart, the collective heart that we all are. And I don't mean to be on a soapbox, but this is where we are right now. It's exciting. And it can feel very uncomfortable when we're first in this motion. It feels kind of like that moment that the roller coaster starts to decelerate, where we're, oh my gosh, what's this weird feeling? And realizing later on perhaps that it's actually a good thing. This sudden change in frequency is very alarming to most of us. We've gotten used to being on this unpredictable ride, the roller coaster that we've been on, that now the predictability of that is being left behind for something better. So, and the last part is I strongly suggest, I'm sure you know this, I don't think you need to hear it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Don't invest in the stories you're hearing. There's a lot of stuff out there. And I'm not saying that it's true or untrue. It simply is knowledge important for knowledge's sake. Like, is that going to help us today? What happened yesterday? Always what's going to help us tomorrow. And what's going to help us tomorrow may not be what helps us today. So let yourself be in today's moment, and you'll find whatever it is that needs to come through comes through. So there's a lot going on right now, and I'm really happy to be here today with all of you for this amazing time. I keep walking over to the left side when I don't mean to, really unbalanced. So Vegan Vixen's also getting this unbalanced, almost lopsided kind of feeling. Like you're not even sure like where your gravity center is. I know the poles are shifting, and they've been for a while, but in a way lately that's more noticeable. Lizzie, hi Mila. All love to all of you. Good to see you. Thank you. Vanya says, hey guys, hi guys. Feeling weird and totally exhausted, vibrating body and emotionally drained, feeling unstable on my feet and kind of disoriented. Plus, unexplained grief. Yeah, me too. The full bouquet of symptoms. This grief, I've been really feeling it too, especially the past, I would say 16 hours or so. It just started to kind of like, it feels like almost a I don't know how to say the word, like it's almost enjoyable melancholy, if that makes any sense. Like feeling like, I don't know how to explain it, but to say that enjoyable because I feel that it's moving like out, away. At the same time, there's this part of us feeling some of these, what we would probably classify as denser, emotions or whatever. This, for many of us, this window of time is the last time we're going to feel them this way, in this dense. And I've got something to tell you that, I've had several near-death experiences in my life. And there were 5 in particular where there was proof, where someone had clinically declared that to be the truth. However, I can say that there were more than that. I've had one of those kind of lives. Anyway, each time that I had a near-death experience, each time, there were groups of individuals who came to me, my soul family, the angels, whatever you want to call what they are. They were like a plasma mass of many, energy and light and love. And what it was is they wanted to know what it was like, what life here was like. They were excited to learn quickly before before I came back. I interpreted it as if I needed to share it quickly before I became them. So the memory is still fresh, kind of. And so I immediately, every time, want to tell them about the joy, about the celebration, about the love, about the sunsets and the sunrises and the babes in arms and the moments of triumph and beauty and love. And they didn't care. They didn't care about that stuff. They knew about that stuff. They already have that knowledge. What they don't have access to is the sensation of grief, of suffering, loss, mourning. The sensation of feeling utterly alone, that illusion of separation from your fellow and from God, is not one that can be replicated. As if they are putting on a VR headset but still bumping into the coffee table. They can't truly experience it. You can't take knowledge away once it's had. And so for us here, one of the most unique things about being here is to feel sad, chronic depression, like these things that that we, of course, have no desire to participate in and do many things to try to avoid, is the very thing that they crave. For without this, joy isn't anything different than a regular Tuesday. Absolute love is, as simple and expected without thought as breathing the air before you. It is just normal. And so I'm showing this to you to show you something more, is that right now we're leaving behind these emotions. And so a lot of people are feeling it deeper, suddenly having not had depression or sadness for some time, suddenly now experiencing it. And it's really one of the last times we're going to feel this. Now, I'm not saying, this day is the last day we're feeling it, though this window of time of emotion that's coming through us, this ancient unwept tears from a time long ago, long forgotten and now being remembered. And I'm talking about long before this incarnation. These emotions are moving through us as a conduit to get out, and we won't feel them again. They'll be gone. And so to savor those moments, to experience it. And fascinating enough, when you lean into an emotion, when you decide to take the time to savor it, to actually experience the emotion, that's the solution to resolve that emotion. That's when it leaves abruptly. I know I went on a tangent. That's an important message that Spirit wanted to talk about. So that's where we are. It's kind of a cool thing too, if you think about it. Okay, I jumped down, so I'm just gonna let's see. Rocco says, "You are absolutely amazing. Thank you for what you do. Symptoms woke me at 3:33 a.m. Wow, is a feel like total shit and have for the last 4 days. Not sure how much more of this I can take." And thank you so much for coming and being here on this live. I always look forward to talking to all of you. And yeah, it is very. I noticed it at that time too. I noticed it. I wonder what the deal is about that actually, because I think you're the fourth person who mentioned 333, and everybody's been in different time zones. So that'll also be interesting what time zone you're in. A lot of people feeling this real needing to be in the present. I was almost asleep when that happened last night, this morning. I was awake pretty late. I typically am awake past 2 a.m. anyway. That seems to be my MO, though I've napped, you know what I mean? And so, anyhow, the 333, this was also something that happened to me. And for me, I was like just almost asleep, and I woke up and I was wide awake. And I was in this download of all this stuff, and it has to do with what the shining meant and plasma and the beings of light that we are, and that we are the watchers of the 200 watchers, and all this stuff just started bam just coming in, and it came in through all different directions before that moment, which was very fascinating. It was in this movie I watched with my daughter, and then days later we'd been watching a series. We've been watching The Simpsons, and there was a reference to this and that, and then there was another reference somewhere else, and then all this. And my point is that all of this stuff is coming in. It's coming in loud. So I just wanted to validate your 333. I don't mean to go on so many tangents today. I can tell you this. I've been in download mode so much lately that I feel like I'm that person that people used to look at, like I used to in my younger years, and think that person just was unstable or unbalanced because they couldn't ever remember what they were doing. Because what's happening is I'm getting all this downloaded while I'm trying to talk to people too. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very fascinating. Louise, grief about finally letting go of the knowing about all the muck. Now it's theirs for them to do as they please. Yes, it's for them to do as they please. Let them resolve and dissolve it themselves. We are no longer investing ourselves. And when we uninvest, we no longer perpetuate the mechanism therein. We're stopping the flow. We're stopping the intentional flow because the rivers have been running backward for far too long. And when we turn off the windmills, when we turn off those the things that are causing the flow to reverse, it takes a moment. And sometimes we get nervous and fill in that quiet time with words, and the awkward quiet doesn't have to be awkward at all, because then it starts to flow the right way, right? And so it's about letting ourselves be uncomfortable for a minute. You know, you don't have to control it. And it's kind of hard because we're so used to trying to believing we were supposed to. Oh, Vegan Vixen, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mila. You're our rock. Love you. I love you so much. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. 3333. Look at all those threes. And so much has been going on the threes, you know. Wow. That's really fascinating. I wonder what you'd have to say before we talked about the threes. Yeah, thank you very much. Gonna try no to type much today, but I'm here. Oh, okay, I understand. Thank you, Infrared Writing, for being here. I appreciate seeing you and sending you love here. Oh, hey, Lavender Sky Panthers in the house. Hi, all. The fact that we are all here, right now is truly phenomenal, miraculous even. Big love and hugs all around. And to you, dear sister. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that we are able to connect together in this time slip, in this now moment, and to be in the resonance, share resonance with one another. What we're doing is we're connecting, we're harmonizing our heart song, our heart strings, the frequency of our heart, connecting, combining, and showing and reuniting that we've always been together, just so simply forgotten. And so the flow just needs a little more intention. You know, we are one heart. That's what the thing is. And man, what an amazing time to be here for, guys. We have so much about to happen and in the middle of happening. I've been waiting for some of these signs that we've been seeing this week for decades. Decades. My first near death experience was when I was 4. Though most of my prophecy, premonition, and visions of a future time started around the time I was 6. It was really noticed that the people I was talking to weren't imaginary friends after my grandfather passed, which was a few years after, and then found out that it was souls talking to me. You know, my family didn't know, and so on and so forth. Anyway, here is the thing, is that we're seeing the signs. We're seeing the things we've been waiting for. We're in this time. Between these next 2 months, this month and next month, the end of next month, into the beginning of April, this is the time where the flow is really happening. And the visual of it has always been associated with water, though I don't feel like it's literal. Some of it is, but very few of it is. Most of it is they're showing us what energy is connected to water. The awakening is always associated with waves, with water, with fluidity, with the flow, with that divine feminine energy that's accessible for any gender. You don't only have womb energy if you're a woman with a womb. Just as much as you're not going to take away the womanhood from a woman if her womb is missing. A man has a womb energy space too. And this energy space, this flow, is considered divine feminine qualities, though we have both. We have both. We have divine masculine and divine feminine qualities. Energetic divinity is a natural thing. We've been cut off from the divine feminine quality for so many lifetimes, at least this one for sure, that it's caused us to forget that this is something that's worth obtaining, accessing. And so while we do this as a man or as a woman, we're learning to flow, because that's something else. And this isn't taken away from the femininity of a woman, but most of us have been operating in the divine masculine. And it wasn't even all that divine because it was a distorted version. This isn't assigning it to a man or a woman. This is what we all been. This trauma response way of existing. I wanted to say experiencing life and existing at the same time, and it turned into that. Anyhow, so yeah, now we're learning, and this is what this is meant for us to do right now, is to remember how it is to flow in order to do it. And then we can live in the miracle of it all. And this exciting time. Been trying to stay healthy, but trying to sort my brother out who has psychosis. The police took him and let him go. So now I think he's living on streets close by, looking in bins, talking to himself. Man, that is some difficult things to have happen. I'm so sorry to hear for. I don't like saying that word, and I want a better word. I hope that you know that I'm sending you love and balance, and that I see you. I understand what you're going through, and that it's not something that's fun. You know that there's a lot of people I'm sure in the audience that on some level can resonate with your experience. Sending you love, dear. Universal Salt Talks. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Hi, ma'am. Welcome. I'm searching for something. I don't know what I am searching for. Can you help me out? I'm very interested in all awakening and spiritual. Very much information overload wrapped or happened. What am I going to do with it? I totally get that. There's a lot of people coming into the awareness right now, and there's very little because there's so much information flooding the world, um, that you can definitely find that it can feel overwhelming and not sure where to turn. I can say this: the most important thing that you can do for yourself, for any of us, is to find whatever it is that feels like play, that feels like play to you, some type of play. And in that play, let there be physical motion. While you do this, when we move in a physical way, in a playful state, then all of the layers of things that are stopping the flow of the messages that are coming to you from God, and this isn't scary, this isn't sacrilegious or anything like that. We are beings of the light. Hey, it's 333 right now. And these beings of light that we are connected to God. And so when we have all this outside distortion happening, it slows that flow and not prevents, but it eliminates the immediate access to that. And so being in a place of play and in motion will begin to align your inner core. You'll find eventually your 0 point. Often we'll do this and we'll find ourselves reflecting in kind of a meditative way. You know, that's the truest being in the moment, is when you're in play. If you observe someone in laughter or in any other emotion, of all other emotions or experiences, when you're in laughter, that's the truest now moment. When you can be now, then you're not losing things to the future and the past, because God doesn't live in the future and the past, just as you don't. You live now, just as we all do. And so being in that playful state will help you to center yourself into your now moment. From that point, all of you will see this to be true as well, is that from that point, the universe has always been God, the universe, and all that is this amazing, awesome oneness is always send information and knowledge to you that's meant specifically for you. And the flow of it comes in every direction. It comes through things that you'll see, things that'll pop into your mind, awareness, things you've written years ago that happen to unfold, open the book in front of your feet. There's a lot of different ways that this comes in. And as soon as you're able to align yourself and notice it, that information comes to you. Now, that sounds really complicated and something that feels unattainable to many people, especially when you have a lot of thoughts. Most of us do. It's like standing in a rainstorm saying, "Don't get wet." Well, instead of saying "don't get wet," let's instead realize that each drop is a thought, and the thought can then caress and glide down the outside of my raincoat. It doesn't have to be interacted with. I don't have to reach out and grab that thought. It's releasing the thoughts until the thoughts that are meant for you to align you and to guide you come in. Those thoughts feel like love. The thoughts that are meant for you from God, from Creator, from the universe, feel like love. They feel like home. They feel safe. When you don't feel those things, then we find ourselves in a panic searching for it. And when we go into this panic state, we perpetuate further distortion rather than leaning into that love. So the answer is to play. That's my answer to you. I know it's kind of a big umbrella response. And my the first thing that you can do, look up Qigong. Qigong beginners, 10 minutes, or so every day. Find a time in the day you can do that. It's really low impact. It's awakening and settling the flow of your chi. Your lymphatic system can now align, and you're able to access the flow of knowledge further. Qigong is another, after Qigong, I would suggest strongly doing meditation practices. I would. It's something that not everybody wants to do. If you allow yourself to do this for at least 5 minutes a day, though, most people would say that, they want it's best if you can do it for at least 21 minutes straight. However, 5 minutes is better than nothing. And most of us can go into a bathroom stall and in a work setting or something and be in our own space for a minute, just for 5 minutes. Though if you can do more, that would really benefit you. There are all kinds of free meditations on YouTube. There's so much out there. And whatever it is that you're specifically looking for is, something I would search. However, I'm going to give you one that I've given out to so many people. Brian Scott Forgiveness Meditation. I believe it's 20 to 22 minutes. I can't remember exactly how many minutes it is. I have suggested this meditation to so many people. It is so groundbreaking and so helpful. Brian Scott's meditations are about moving and doing things, instead of just simply listening to the breath and the heart and stuff. And a lot of us that are so multidimensional find ourselves needing to have information and things to do while we're in meditation, and this does this for us. It opens up some things that have been blocked by outside sources for each of us for a long time, and this unblocks it. And it's only 22 minutes long. And you can do that meditation as often as you want. I know I responded to this one question for a long time, and I apologize to everybody. This is a very important question, so I'm really happy that you asked it. And Universal Salt Talks, welcome. I'm so happy that you found us. Maya, thank you so much. Wow, that is so generous of you. Thank you, Mila, and thank you. My elemental sandalments. I like that. Yeah, I remember talking about you and with you. You were, yeah. I remember connecting with you. Thanks for the reminder to lean into the feelings, Mila. I keep forgetting that. Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of fun when we get to connect with people. Lots of times I'll when I reach into someone who's talked, it can like, um, uh, there's an energy exchange that happens, spiritually speaking, that we get to connect with each other's higher selves, and that's where I recognize people as their higher aspect. It's kind of fun. We all do it. We all can do it. It's Rocco again. I'm new here. Just wondering if you give private readings. If so, how does one reach such a divine soul as yours? Oh, thank you, Rocco. Yeah, I do. Actually, I have sessions. And if you look at the description of this video and scroll down to the bottom, I think it's at the bottom or near to the bottom, it will give you my Calendly website that you can schedule a session. I'll actually pull it up for you. Right. Wait, where is it? There it is. I'll grab it for you and put it in the chat right now. I highlighted everything. My sessions are usually about an hour long. Often we'll go a little bit over, but we try to keep it to about an hour. I'll paste that up there. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate that. So I'm going to put it up right there. That's the website. I know it's kind of a long one. You can also find it in the description of this video. And, since I had that screen up, my dear friend, I'm not that person. Typically don't like to be a person who asks others for anything, and that's part of operating in the Um, the trauma response of the fiercely independent soul is something we've all been doing for a really long time. And I'm going to share something because my dear friend put this together for me. My vehicle's not been driving for quite a while, and it's a thing. So my friend, my dear sister, made this GoFundMe for me, and so I'm just gonna put it out there for anybody who aligns with it. And I don't like to ask for things, especially since you guys have already been so beautiful and giving so much today. And so I'm not asking for anybody to give more. It's just we've I'm a single mom, and who doesn't have any access or any communication with the father, and it's been a thing. And it's difficult having a little one when you can't get around. In the beautiful state of Arkansas, we don't get to see much of it. There are things, basic, you know, things that 11-year-old really enjoys with being able to be mobile. So there's that. Okay, I'm done with that part, but I really appreciate my dear sister for making this GoFundMe for me. I honor you, and I thank you very much for that. And another great way you can support me is to book a session with me. So thank you for asking that. Hi, beautiful Mila. Everyone, thank you. Love, peace, joy, light. True. We are so lucky to be here in the now moments, says Freddie. God bless the divine feminine and divine masculine. Aho, falcon lover. Love forever. Yeah, that is so much, that's where we really are right now. And for us to be in alignment with the truth that we are is simply the only requirement for that is to learn how it feels to love self. Honestly, that's really how you're able to do it. Where and this particular meditation I suggested, the Brian Scott forgiveness meditation, that short 20 to 22 minutes. I always thought it was 22 minutes. I feel like that was wrong, so I'm just saying it anyway. um, Teaches us to forgive ourselves. It teaches us how to forgive ourselves, that there's something to forgive. Now the thing is, in logic, there is nothing to forgive, because what we're talking about are silly things, cringe moments, things that we've taken blame off of someone in order to forgive them, because we've historically been really good at forgiving everybody else, right? And so, as we forgive someone else, typically we'll say, well, I shouldn't have been doing that, or I shouldn't have been here, or whatever. Like one of the most common stories that you'll hear about someone who was accosted in a violent way, especially if it's sexual based, they'll say, I shouldn't have been wearing that. I should have this, that, and the other thing. And when we do that, we bring to our heart center guilt, shame, or responsibility, things to be forgiven. And so we've done really great at forgiving the other person. We forget that there's something left to do. And what that looks like, it looks like layers on top of our breastplate. Our breastplate, this plate, along with the two shoulder blades, are the three plates of awareness. And when we have the world's troubles on our back, when we have all this stuff to get off of our chest, when our plate is overflowing, then we're not able to access that self-worth, that self-love, because there's forgiveness to be done. And so allowing yourself to forgive yourself is how self-love is obtained, accessed for perhaps the first time in your adult years. A lot of us I know that for me, that was true for me. And then what's crazy, guys? Then for the first time, you get to know what it feels like to really love someone. I remember being told at an earlier point in my life that I didn't really know how to love somebody, or that I didn't really have love. And I was so offended, because I am, by my very nature, a very, very loving, compassionate, empathetic. I care about everybody, and that's true at the cost of myself. I was living as a martyr in many ways. I would sacrifice self for others often. And without having access to self-love, I really didn't know what love really was. They were right. They were right. I can feel love now for others in such a different way. It's so beautiful. It's just as different as saying that you thought what you knew what love was like until that day when you gave birth to your first child, or something like that, where you didn't realize how deeply you can love until you became a parent or a grandparent, or whatever it is that happened to that for that person. Similar to that. Anyhow, so if you don't have else that you can find access to this week, if you do, I'm not connected with Brian Scott. I'm not trying to sell him because he's my friend. I've watched and used his meditations over the years for about 6 years now. You'll actually see my old comment in there. I don't remember when I wrote it, but I remember writing after that meditation. It was probably about 5 years ago, that I was annoyed he didn't warn me to bring a box of tissues. It was a joke, because how profound the experience was when I began to forgive myself, and how much love I finally got to feel. People like us, we often don't even realize it, but we're constantly hearing the cries of despair from the planet, from all the people here in their different moments. The moment that they got an F on their test, the moment they crashed their vehicle or lost a loved one, the moment that they found out they'd been lied to, all of these different things that are happening simultaneously were constantly flowing into us. And without the barrier, or I don't know, maybe, what do you call that? That medium that slows and absorbs the energy of that fear and that anguish, which is love. Once that love is there, and that's like becomes a buffer to the energy of everyone in despair, and instead shares that love with them from the outskirts of your bubble, rather than giving of yourself. And when you're not giving and depleting yourself of something of what is required to dissolve and transmute what's happening, like, it works in every direction. You're not giving of yourself. It's really cool. So I just want to say thank you so much for everybody that's here today, for doing what you're doing. I know what you've been doing, and it's been hard. And if you are allowed to, if you will allow yourself to clear that space of self-indifference and open up to that self-love, then you'll be able to obtain things that are far beyond your wildest dreams. So, and Mary, asking for love to be sent, sending love to you. Please send love my way. Dealing with my dad and the neurology ICU. Sending you love, dear. Trying to ground as much as possible. On top of that, dealing with all these energy waves. It's a lot. It's a lot to have going on. And so I invite anyone listening and here today, as well as listening from later on, to send love Mary's way. Thank you for raising your hand and to be seen. Juan says, hello, everyone from Mexico. Been feeling dizzy all day long. Yeah, it's been really weird. Floaty was another word people are using. Off balance. I'm feeling like this vibration inside of me. It's so subtle, but it's like my molecules are vibrating. I know that they already are. That's what science tells you. But I feel like something more than that. Something in a separate, something deeper. I don't know how to explain it. It feels like it's very noticeable, and it feels kind of disruptive. Pardon me. So yeah, definitely. Grounding as much as you can would help with that. I know that's true. We've been having some surprisingly warm days the past few days until today, and today I really need to ground. So I have yet to go outside with bare feet and no socks on. I do need to do that. That will really, if you don't have that available to you, if there's a potted plant nearby or some kind of amount of soil that you can interact with, your feet on top of it, on the soil, or playing with it, your hands in it will really help. Lyra says, everyone, anyone else having sore muscles like you had a hard workout but didn't? Yeah, I've been noticing that specifically like in my back region. I'm noticing the left side of my body's being favored for a lot of these ascension symptoms lately. Fascinating, interesting thing to look at to kind of figure out why or what your soul or body and body are trying to tell you, because that's usually what's happening when we're having symptoms. There's something else to be understood there. The divine masculine side is observed on the right side of the body, and when the divine feminine side is observed on the left. Now, I realize that some people feel that's different, and I do think that some people really do have it different. I don't I don't know exactly who decides. You know what I mean? Like, it's very interesting. But I would say that the majority observe it as I do, because and then when you have things going on the left side of your body, then the message underneath, the underlying message, has to do with your divine feminine stuff, um, and the area of the left side of the body, connected to that specific thing. One fun thing you can do, and I find it fun and also incredibly useful. Those of you who know who Dolores Cannon is, she was famous for the Ozarks, as the area that I'm in now. Um, in fact, I think Ozark Publishing is the Dolores Cannon company. Anyhow, is that what she would do in QHHT? One of the things was to find out what was going on with the person's body now by talking to their oversoul or their higher self or their previous incarnation bodies, and seeing what underlying emotion body needs to be healed. And that underlying emotion body is easy to find by simply searching online. So let's say you're noticing your liver's acting weird, or your gallbladder. Let's go with gallbladder because I always say liver. You're having some stuff going on with your gallbladder and you don't want to find out what's going on. So you go on the internet and you type in what emotion is connected to gallbladder. You can fill in the blank, any organ or body, area of your body, and it'll tell you the emotion connected with that. I believe gallbladder has to do with relationships ending and not feeling seen, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, so then you can look that up and you can see what's going on an emotional level. When we allow ourselves to heal the underlying emotion body, then the physical part resolves itself. That is not to say that assisting yourself in a homeopathic, herbal kind of way, like natural plants and things like that, that's also useful and a good idea. Strongly encourage, in fact. It's simply that if you don't do that and perhaps let yourself fast for a time, it will resolve itself. It just always will. Just how it works. Us believing so much in the medical system hasn't kept us fully balanced in the way that maybe we are realizing how we can. So anyway, I've been going off a lot on these little side stories or side missions. Just checked. You are remembering correctly, popcorn. Oh, what are you? Oh, okay. You're remembering correctly. I wonder what I was talking about. Okay. Um, yeah, I do that. I go on these tangents and then I forget where. The body clock is a great source to figure the organ emotion. Yeah, yeah, it's such a good idea. And then once you understand the underlying emotion, then giving that thing, that underlying emotion, a way to clear itself. So the most common one is anger. People will notice a lot of anger, and associated specifically with the liver and the kidneys and stuff like this area. Um, and not knowing how to resolve or heal through the anger, not able to, like, people who detach or disassociate, or just get quiet and don't later, or at least somehow, process the anger. They'll start to notice this area of their body kind of hurting. Maybe they'll see that their torso is inflating, like they're getting kind of like a Buddha belly. um, Everybody's got this going on and off these past few years due to this, you know, learning how to release all of this anger, because this is what it is. All right. So here in this plane of existence, we experience a variety of emotion, and we don't always realize what it is. When they're, pardon me, I'm just all of a sudden burping a lot. Um, those two main emotions that everything is derived from is love and fear. And there are things that are closely connected to these, like really close. Right after fear is anger. Right after anger is shame, if I'm not mistaken, guilt, a lot of this low self-worth kind of stuff, low body image, and those types of things are all real closely related to fear. Of course, really close to love is joy and happiness and all those types of things. And then there's a whole spectrum of emotion in between. The more that we go like this, and mix them together like you do colors of a rainbow. And so when we understand the underlying emotion body, what's so close to fear to love is, or excuse me, what's so close to anger is fear. What's so close to all of these kinds of things are most of what everybody in this chat and everybody who will listen in later has some experience with, where we've been caused to spend a lot of time in low self-worth, low body image, body dysphoria, all kinds of programming to that you're not good enough and that kind of crap. That's really super common. And that's the best way to keep a person's vibration down. Because remember, though this is definitely a root emotion, the goal is to ascend to here. And the fear draws from a whole different, it almost feels like a different God. If I don't have a better word to explain that other than saying that. It feels like it's drawing from a different God, where love is drawing from. And if you look at, the love is drawing from the actual creator. You're made in the image of the creator. Those words mean if you want to feel joy, make something. If you want to feel happiness, completion, create something. Cook, clean it, make a space, create a container, and make a gathering. It doesn't have to be more than 2 people to be a gathering in the way that I look at things, in groups of 2 or more, right? You can create a meal. You can create a masterpiece with every kind of medium, dance, music, celebration. These are creating and letting yourself create. You are doing what we've been told all along, that you were made in the image of the creator for a reason, right? And so just that's how we can start to feel better. And why wouldn't we want to, right? Part of that is doing like what I'm doing here. This is considered creating. It really is. I don't think of it that way, but it is. And when we do this, what happens? What magic occurs? All of a sudden, we have 132 people who show up and have conversation in the chat and meet each other, and they find out they're not alone. We just had friends that we met this way come all the way from Australia to stay with us and to visit with us. Like wow. That was created, like if you want to be on the show, by the way, if someone in the audience is there's you're meant to tell your story, to speak your truth, I invite you to contact me. Let me know. There's my emails in the description of this video. If you want to send me an email and let me know that you're interested, and I would love for you to join us. I didn't read Amanda's comment. Sorry, I put it up there and I keep doing that. OMG, I'm so happy I found this. So much explained. It's so awesome that so many other people are like me. I love you guys so much. We love you, Amanda. I'm so glad you found us. And I love that. No, Lizzie, welcome, Amanda. Yeah, look how beautiful everybody is. Wow, you guys are so cool. All right, I saw something. Marty says, can you talk to other people's souls? Yeah, and so can you. It's actually what we do all the time. Um, we've been taught to discount our communication that we get. You know, you get a sixth sense or a knack or a gut feeling, or those types of things are typically communication between you and the other person on a soul level. Um, your soul has many incarnations, and many of those incarnations are being had simultaneously. So you can actually feel the frequency of all the different vibrations that they're bringing through sometimes, depending on where they're at in their day. It's really cool. It's a thing. A lot of everybody can do it. When you ask in your mind a question of the person, you'll get an immediate answer. And it's about trusting the conversation, trusting yourself, right? And it takes some time, a little bit of practice to learn to trust yourself. It's kind of fun though. Mila, that's right. Dolores was in the Ozarks and has her Ozark publishing. Interesting. I read 2 of her books that opened my eyes further in the awakening journey. She has some pretty fascinating books. She really highlights the oversoul and a lot of different kind of conversations that get had that way. Lizzie said, had my gallbladder removed, what happens there? Yeah, there's a lot of people who I've known over the years that have had that. But there's a lot to us learning to metabolize or to let the flow of relationships be like they're meant to be. You know, like people get all offended about it, and I don't think that that's something I don't feel offense by people taking breaks. You know, relationships aren't meant to be constant and always. I like breaks too. You know what I mean? And so um, often what happens is the over devotion causes the gallbladder to be in disruption. So I know that um, uh, once this is removed, I know that there's that we naturally find, just like we do in neural pathways in our brain, our body naturally finds a way to align and to find that balance again. Though it's very interesting. I'm not putting anything on you. I just kind of feel like I bet there's a lot of this like difficulty, and this doesn't always have to be romantic relationships, but this instability of constant um, relationship reliance on a constant relationship. Maybe people were out of your life a lot, frequently moving through. You know, there wasn't a belief that they hang out very long or something, kind of thing, perhaps. Hey, Jeanette. Good to see you. Hey, Mila and everyone in the chat. I love you. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Welcome. Yeah, Brian Scott is amazing. Brian Scott, if you guys want to check him out, his Reality Revolution is the name of his channel. Brian Scott, if you search that on YouTube, you'll also find his channel. He creates amazing content every single Saturday. I just said that. I'm going to take that away and say almost. It's a likelihood that he's not on every single Saturday, but as far as I can tell, every Saturday he premieres a meditation, a pre-recorded meditation that premieres, meaning it goes live, so everybody can join in the same moment simultaneously to participate in that meditation. And it goes oh goodness, I think it's at 4 p.m. Central Time. I don't know anymore. I have it in my head as 2 p.m., but I'm trying to remember if that's because I used to see it as it was 2 p.m. Central or Pacific Time. Anyhow, sometimes it's a little bit later. Sometimes he'll do nighttime meditations, though this is something worth checking out. You know, Brian Scott, Reality Revolution. It's really cool. So I do have to wrap this up because I got some other things going on. But let's see. Let's grab this one. Donna says, um, oh wait, Donna Cummings. I can talk to other souls. I ask for permission to bring up subjects, etc. So I know they are going to be receptive to what I am inspired to say. Yeah, this is actually really cool. I do this too. Where when I'm getting ready to do a session with somebody, I'll bring that person in Um, I start to invite people into channel. I open myself as a channel for those individuals that are coming through for that person's highest joy and highest good. I say a lot of different things that are like this to show that I'm opening myself up. And then I'll begin to start to have communication with people who have passed in their life that are coming to share a message. I'll have their higher self talk to me. Sometimes I'll have literally what feels like I'm talking to them, talking to me, as if like they're asleep and you're talking to their consciousness. I'll have all kinds of different things. Sometimes it's even like interdimensionals or angels, galactics. It's such a wide, varying experience that you never know what's going to happen. However, when we send love to somebody, when we're assisting somebody in a way that they won't receive, if you tell them, if you're like, hey, Bob, I'm going to send you some healing. And Bob's like, hey, no way, dude, eat rocks. You know what I mean? Like, um, and I know that that person will benefit from that healing. I'll ask their higher self. I'll ask their soul. I'll ask their guardians and stuff like that, right? And usually it's always a yes. Sometimes there's been times where I've gotten that won't help this person right now. If you can receive consent, then healing is okay. Some people really don't want. It's very interesting, and that's no judgment. That person, I have no reason to judge the person for saying no. Is what I mean. They want what they want, so it's a good idea, though. Um, I love you too, Mila. Oh, thank you. It's so good to I know there's a lot of love in this room today, and I just want to say thank you to everybody here. Um, how much joy and balance can come through while just participating in this conversation, being here with others where you're not alone and you don't have to feel like you're alone. Um, it is very it's really easy to get lost in thinking that you're in a place where you're the only one doing it and get lost in the mire of it. But then when you find out that everyone's doing it, that we're all going through ascension symptoms, that we're all having a lot of experience that are out of alignment or unfavorable feeling, when we find out that other people are doing it too, then it's not a life sentence. It's a moment that we're just simply going through. And how magical is that? How magical is it that we can find a way to resolve these issues, these difficulties, simply by tuning in, connecting. There's a Telegram group that we have in the link of this that the link for is in the description of this video. And it's like 500 people. It fluctuates, depending on what aligns with the person. There's a whole bunch of different like subgroups inside this Telegram group, the light bearers. We were the light, or we were the light warriors, and people started misunderstanding the purpose of it. So I changed the name a while back. Um, however, if you want to join, there's people from every time zones. There's always somebody awake. It's so sometimes so validating to say, hey, I'm feeling this way. Anybody else? And even if you don't actually get direct communication, simply the number of people who love or like the click what you said and validate or say that, yeah, me too. Wow, how magical is that to know that you're not alone? So I encourage you to check that out. Lavender Sky Panther, in over 14 years on the spiritual path, Mila's sessions are the most connected, helpful I have experienced. Wow. Thank you very much, Lavender Sky Panther, for saying that. I truly appreciate that. And if you do want to have a session with me, the link for that is in the description of this video. You can find a way to make it so you can schedule a session. If there's for some reason it doesn't align with you time wise, sometimes I can make things work and where I can fit people in a different time zones, maybe a little bit later than what I have available to schedule for those in like Australia. But I only have so many hours to work with. Like there were some people that were asking if I could start as late as 4 a.m. and that's not something that this single mom can make happen. But there are some, there's some wiggle room. So if that is something that interests you, please let me know. And also, I would like to point this out, Lyra. Thank you for saying so. I love the weekly meeting. There's a weekly meeting that we do every Wednesday after the show. It usually starts at 5 p.m. So if you're watching this live right now, it would be in a little less than an hour from now is when we would start. We're not doing it today, though on Wednesdays. For the Northern Hemisphere, it would be a Thursday. For the Southern Hemisphere, we start at 5 p.m. Central Time. We go for about 2 hours, and it's free. Just a Zoom meeting, a bunch of us talking and having conversation. You don't have to have your camera on. You don't even have to talk. It's useful to let yourself do so. Sometimes people will just write in the chat, and that works too. If we get a chance, I'll often read those comments that are being written. If you want to join us, just look for the link that will come the day before. Usually, sometimes it's hours before if I've forgotten. And you'll see that in the community section of my YouTube channel, as well as in the Telegram group. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you soon. And thank you so. Oh, by the way, this Wednesday, we are having a show with Guardian and Yolanda Marie on Wednesday. That's coming up. It feels like it should be next week, but it's not. The 11th, so that's just in a couple of days for the Northern Hemisphere. That would be the 12th for the Southern Hemisphere. And it's going to be a really good conversation. I'm really looking forward to it with Guardian and Yolanda Marie. They both are seasoned channelers. I really love to see what comes through in these conversations that we have. It's something I look forward to. So I'm super excited to have both of them back together again in this great show. So if that will start at 1 p.m. Central Time, it's an hour earlier start time than usual for Wednesday shows. So if you want to join us live, just be aware of that. And I look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you all so very much. And once again, thank you so much for the loving love donations that I received today. You have made such an impact on mine and my child's life that I just want you to know that I really truly appreciate you. Thank you. I'm sending all of you so much love, and I'll see you very, very soon.